Welcome to an all new episode of Entrepreneur Interview Series on Entrejon, a platform for all the entrepreneurs out there looking for a community to share their journeys, highs and lows. Entrejon encourages entrepreneurs to talk about their mental struggle, resilience, and help each other learn and grow from them. Today we have with us Preeta Agarwal. Preeta is a versatile jewelry specialist and consultant. She is a NIFT graduate and a pioneering jewelry journalist and blogger. She was awarded the Jewelry Blogger of the Year in 2019 at Flights Award at International Jewelry London Show. Her features has been published in many magazines such as Solitaire, Asia Pacific, Singapore, The Jewelry Editor, London, BO Plus Italy, JCK USA, Harper Bazaar Pride India, Forbes India, and many more. During her professional journey, she has been in close interaction with prominent brands like Bulgari, Cartier, Graf, Farah Khan, and Amarpali. Welcome, Preeta. Thank you for joining us today in this talk about mental health and the associated myths and stigma around it.
My pleasure. It's absolutely a pleasure to be here.
First of all, let me tell you, you have a very, very fascinating professional journey. I was wondering what made you do something on your own in the jewelry space.
So it didn't happen overnight, obviously. I did, after my designing, I did work for a company, another company, then third company over 3, 4 years. But somewhere down the line, I wasn't satisfied. Like I always wanted to do more. And back in 2007 in India, there were not many opportunities for a jewelry designer. So you would always feel restricted. Most of the companies wanted us to do copy paste work or just, get inspired from some international brands and work on it. There were very few genuine design studios who would work on a proper process. I had the chance of working with a few of them, but still there was this voice from inside that you want to do more. So I quit my job. I started doing some freelance work, but obviously it didn't work out in the first go. I again joined back another company, but this time I was working as a journalist parallel to my job. So I was lucky enough to be employed by a company and a boss who agreed to let me work for a magazine while I was working for a jewelry brand, which is very rare because when you're an employee of a company, they don't want you to work for anybody else, just whoever they are. I was lucky enough that I got to work for another magazine while working for a jeweler. And that's how it started. So I kind of parallelly kept juggling. So I used to work as an employee in the day, and I used to work as a journalist in my evening time and weekends. I used to do all my articles. And then eventually I kind of tipped the balance the other way. So I kind of started doing more of articles, more books. And that's when I realized that this is the space that I want to be. So after working for another 6 years with them, I started out on my own. So that was like 10 years into my professional journey. I started out on my own. And yes, in the last 5 years, it's been a great journey. There has been no looking back. And I am sort of a decent entrepreneur, you can say. Now, from a freelancer to entrepreneur, there's a very thin line for me. So I started out as a freelancer. Now I have a company.
Can you share a incident where work is, despite your passion, of course, work has been tedious, stressful, taking a toll on your mental as well as physical health?
Yes. So 3 years ago, we were working on a project, me and a friend of mine, and it was completely new. It wasn't something that our industry was used to. We were asking a lot of money for it from a lot of people. And initially, there was that hitch from the industry that, why should we pay for this and why should we pay so much for it? So the project was not picking up like we had envisaged, and that kind of led to a lot of mental stress. And I think that's the only time that for 2 weeks I did not get out of the bed. Like I had no energy to get out of the bed in the morning, and for 2 weeks it continued. And after 2 weeks I said, no, I will give it my 100%, one last go, and then we'll see whatever happens. So I just gave it my last push, and thankfully everything worked out. We had a successful project. We finished it with great numbers and everything. It was just, I think it was just that I had to remind myself back about my own knowledge. I had to remind myself that you know your subject, you know what you're talking about. You are not asking, um, you're not asking money unnecessarily. It's for something which you're giving in return. It's not a materialistic thing. Like in jewelry industry, everything is materialistic, right? Here I am in a service industry, so I had to remind myself that what I'm giving, the knowledge that I'm passing on, that is worth the money and the time that each person will spend on it. So I think that those 2 weeks were really bad. Those 2 weeks were very stressed.
That's, I guess, many people out there have that particular period of time where they are so tired and they have to go back and think about their old self, why they started it all, to revive their old energy.
Yes, you I think there's a constant reminder, because as an entrepreneur, you're working for yourself, right? And that constant motivation has to come from within you. There's nobody standing with like a danda on your head, like, if you're an employee, or so there's that pressure, there's that stress of that, oh, the boss is there on your head, the boss is sitting, and they need deadlines, they need work. Here I can take as much work as I want. I don't want to take work, I don't take work. It's up to me. So that constant motivation is very difficult to get.
I totally agree with it. So, like, often it happens, when we have a bad day at work. तो घर पे आके we are like, oh, I don't want to talk to anybody. Please stay away from it. I'm not in mood. So, I'm guessing that it will be like it would have been happening with you as well. So, how do you deal with it? Sometimes, like your professional stress seeping into your personal life. Do you struggle with it? How do you manage it?
See, it happens with everybody. It's not, I'm not a stranger to that. It has happened, and it happens to a lot many, especially in the times that we're living in. There's pandemic happening, there's so much happening, there's so much stress around, people are losing jobs, people are dying. So there's an overlap of everything. All kinds of emotions are going in that one mind and one heart. It's just a low overlap of everything. Professional life took a toll for everybody because of the pandemic. My work took a toll in between. There were 2-3 months where there was barely any work because the entire industry was shut down. What would you do? So, but luckily, between me and my husband, we talk a lot. So, and he's also a marketing expert, not in jewelry, but in another field. So he understands what I do. So it's not that I'm married to somebody who is like probably a doctor, or who doesn't understand my work. Here I'm married to somebody, thankfully, who understands what I do, and then we brainstorm together. So if there is a problem, then we sit down, and he can read me like a book. So he'll tell me, okay, sit down, let's discuss what is wrong, let's figure out a solution, and then we'll have a drink, and then we'll kind of smoothen things out. So I think that's our way of sorting things professionally, personally, everything. Just talk it out. So I think everybody should have sounding boards. Like, he's like my sounding board. Even ideas, when I'm doing a new project, when I'm about to launch something, he's the first one I go to and say, "Ye hai. Do you think I should do it? Do you think I should not do it?" So we both do that to each other. So whoever you are, you should have a sounding board. Like, it could be your father, your brother, your sister, your friend, your mother, anybody who understands what you do, anybody who can relate to the kind of work that you're in. I think for an entrepreneur, sounding boards are very important.
So being an entrepreneur is hard enough, but being a solo female entrepreneur is out of the world. So the challenges coming your way, or the characteristic weakness that you had that pushed you back in this entrepreneur journey, were there some kind of weakness that became an obstacle to in your this journey?
So I think the biggest challenge I had was that I was an ambitious woman in a male dominated industry. That was the biggest challenge that I had to face, because back in 2007, when I passed out, if you would go to a jewelry trade show, you would see not even 5% women. The only women you would see would be models wearing jewelry, because jewelry is a female product. You wouldn't see women as business women, or as selling jewelry, or a manufacturer, or a wife, or you would not see women, or person who's a leader of a corporate company. You would not. Very few, very handful. So the whole atmosphere was very male dominated. From then to now, the industry has changed. We have so many women in the industry who are sitting at powerful positions now, and they lead huge teams and companies, and they are doing wonders. They're so that equality is coming in our industry. So one, that has changed. But back then I faced a lot of issues. Like, I was asked to leave out of a meeting just because I'm a woman. So they're like, it's okay, aap jao ghar, we'll discuss. So that kind of a attitude, that what will she know. And that's when they've hired me for that role. It's not that I'm sitting there faffing away, but they've hired me. That happened. So initially that happened, but when they heard a few of my opinions and my suggestions, and they thought that, oh, she's talking sense, that knowledge kind of got me respect in their eyes, and that knowledge kind of got me a seat at that table. So within 6 months or within a year, I was sitting with them discussing the same things that I was left out of previously. So, but that's the knowledge, that only knowledge and your passion can do that for you. If you're not talking sense, then getting that seat at the table is very difficult. For men, it's somehow easier. For women, it's doubly difficult. So that's one thing. There have been interviews when I've been asked saying that, why are you asking so much salary? You're a woman. What will you do with so much money? So I was like, if I'm going to work, if I'm going to put so many hours, and if I'm going to hold a certain position, then I should be paid this much. If you can't afford that much, tell me, I'll go somewhere else. But don't say just because I'm a woman that you're a girl, what will you do with so much money? Why do you have so much money? You're a girl. All you need to do is shopping. No. I run a company now, I run a house. So there's a lot of money that's required to do all of this. But that's how the attitude in the industry was. And now the same people want to work with me. Like, some of them who had that kind of a tone earlier. There have been a few cases that they've invited me, please come to our company, please come to our office, please come to, and probably they don't remember what they said. I remember, but I don't think they remember. There are a couple of people I know, and I don't think they remember, because that's their attitude towards women in general. So for them, it wasn't a big deal to say. But for me to hear, to be on the receiving end, was a huge thing, because I didn't know how to react to a statement like that. So being an ambitious woman in this male-dominated industry was a huge challenge. Thankfully, now there are many women, and even if you go to a trade show, you'll see like 40%. It's a 40-60 ratio, I feel now. That's a lot of women in the industry now.
Breaking the stereotypes is definitely very, very difficult for anybody, any field.
And it would take a mental toll. Like, when you're not, when you're in a situation like this, that very day it gets very difficult. Later on, now I can sit and discuss these things, and I can say, okay, theek hai. But that day was very difficult. When such things were told to me, I was very disturbed, because I was like, how can they say something like this? Who are they to question how much money I want to make? I want to make much more than this. This was 10 years ago. What I was making, I was asking then. I make way more than that today. So who are they to decide that because I'm a woman, how much should I earn? So that day was very difficult. But again, thankfully, I had my brother to speak to. I had somebody to, go and like get my frustration out. So I went to my brother, and he said, listen, leave him. Don't give him so much weightage. Go apply to 10 more places. I'm sure you'll do. This company doesn't deserve you and your work. So that kind of is difficult.
So what are your activities or practice you do when you're stressed?
I think just traveling. So me and my husband, every few days we itch ki acha ab next, where next? So we pick one destination and we go. So it's always like a new destination. We've rarely gone to a place like frequently again. So we try and do like newer destinations.
So, do you have any advice for those budding entrepreneurs out there? How should they be mindful of their passion, their journey, their mental health, everything in one package?
So I have two, 3 points. Number one is that you need to deep dive in your subject. Whichever field you are in, you need to be a master at it. You cannot do less homework yourself and expect miracles coming your way. No. You have to put in your 200%. You have to deep dive. You have to know the subject in and out. You should be able to rant in your dreams. Like I can rant jewelry in my dreams. Anybody can ask me anything while sleeping, I can immediately start talking. So you should be able to do that. Then only you can expect respect and uh, good projects and income and everything coming your way. And second thing is perseverance, that you need to be at it. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, you have to be at it. Like what I said earlier also, there's no limit for success. So perseverance is ongoing. Where you might have achieved one thing, then second goal, third goal, fourth goal, you have to be at it. Because the day you stop being at it, then you're not an entrepreneur anymore. You quit. So you have to just keep going. You can't stop. And that's very difficult. It's easy said. It's very difficult. There are days you just don't want to do work. There are days you just want to party like other people because you see your family and friends partying and you're like, why am I stuck here? Like I did 3 years of Tuesdays off. My weekly off was a Tuesday. It was so difficult. The entire Janta would be partying on Sundays and I would be sitting in office. Why am I sitting here? Everybody is messaging, jaldi nikal, sham ko party karenge. I feel like I'm in office. And Tuesday, everybody would be in office. So Tuesday, I'm Vela. Tuesday, I had nobody to talk to. So, you know, those days will pass. Everything will happen. Like now, also, there are days that I'm traveling on weekends. All jewelry shows happen on weekends. So, weekends, everybody's planning trips and this and that. I'm saying I'm going for a work trip. So, but that's okay. That's part of the deal. I think accepting things, perseverance, and deep diving into your subject. You have to learn every. You can't leave any little detail of your subject. These are
I,
two, three advices.
with this, we have officially come to an end of our interview. Thank you for your time, Preeta. We are extremely grateful, and we hope that this interview would help our audience who are under immense pressure or are struggling with their mental health and encourage them to open up and talk it out.
Before I leave, I have one thing to tell all the audience that I forgot to tell in your last question that whenever as an entrepreneur in whichever field you are, if you feel stressed, if you feel the pressure, sounding boards, like I said, are very important. They could be anybody, and if nobody is there, please go see a therapist. I've known people who have crumbled under the pressure, and mental health is very important. We in India unfortunately don't take it seriously, and I've seen the absolute worst side of it with very close people. So for mental health, if you feel that it's now getting beyond control, please take professional help. There are many professional people who will help you, who've learned it, who are educated in this field to help you come out of that depression or that stress. But you have only one life to live. Don't don't screw it up so badly that you cannot come out of it. So before you go deep down, please remember that there are people who will help you. All you need to do is ask your family, ask your friends, ask anybody, DM me, I am there. Anybody, just just ask for help. There always will be people to help you. Don't have that ego that no, oh, I can't ask for help. Ask for help. Mental health is very, very important, and that's why I was very happy to be part of this interview, because very few people talk about this subject. And for entrepreneurs, it's a continuous struggle. You never know when you will go down that hill and it will start becoming bad. Today is good, tomorrow might just, especially after pandemic, everybody's business have gone topsy-turvy. So mental health is very, very important for you to be a successful entrepreneur. And those were my 2 points. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure. And I hope all my life journey and my incidents, what I've shared, will help.
Of course, they will help. They were inspiring, and I'm certainly gonna take out my diary and write down after this interview what all I need to focus on. That's a definite thing I'm gonna do. So with this, we have come to an end to this week's episode. Do like, share, and hit the subscribe button down below for further updates. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.